Hi guys, welcome to another edition of the Objective Football Banter Show. I'm your host Twizy, and today we keep discussing more issues as regards the transfer window, the transfer market, and the activities of some football clubs during this pre-season. Of course, the way some games have been going, you're beginning to have an idea of what some teams will look like come early August when the regular football season begins across Europe. While for some clubs there may be something to be excited about, there really is something to be concerned about for some other clubs. These and more issues we'll be discussing, in today's episode, of course, with some banter. Join me as we begin. Let's kick it. Right. So the preseason has actually been going on, to a lot of fanfare, and need I say to some form of disappointment for some other clubs.
Breakfast.
Some clubs have really looked really sharp in preparation in the preseason, while some, the jury's still out there for how they are really preparing.
Not everybody fits on the roster.
For the way their season, is supposed to unfold. Arsenal actually rounded off their US tour a couple of days ago by thumping Chelsea by 4-0. It was really interesting results to see. A lot of players, showed their fitness levels, and some, didn't show something good. You saw on the Chelsea side a lot of players who really needed to get up to speed physically. Many of the players look, not just up there physical wise, even tactically, they didn't seem to really have understood what the manager wanted. And then on the other side, you had Arsenal playing freely, liquid football, everything looked so organized. And then most importantly, they looked really physically fit and up for it the coming season. Injuries were scare, of course, so I think during the match, Mikel Arteta, the Arsenal manager, made one or two changes just as a sign of precaution. But if the performance against Chelsea was anything to go by, I think Arsenal fans will be in for something really tasty and exciting this season. They played very quick, they passed the ball very well, they pressed really high, and you had even players like Ben White at right back, almost at the edge of Chelsea's box regularly during the game. They were very compact, they were very organized, and I think Chelsea fans have a lot to worry about in the coming season. On the opposite side, Arsenal fans really should be excited. Of course, hoping that Thunder doesn't strike again for the third time and Thomas Partey doesn't start against Crystal Palace. Remember last season, Arsenal had sort of you couldn't really place where their preseason was, but by the time the first game of the season will kick off, there was no Aubameyang, there was no Lacazette, there was no Thomas Partey, Bukayo Saka was not fit, and so a lot of problems. So it'll be interesting to see how they really go about it this season. They've won all 5 games they've played in preseason. I don't think they've done that for a long time. They really look up for it. So kudos to Arsenal, and let's see what they will bring in on August the 5th against Crystal Palace. Right, Manchester City, played their second game. I think their second or third, if I'm correct. They had beaten Club America by 2-1, and then they played against Bayern Munich also over the weekend, beating them by 1-0. Of course, Erling Haaland was the goal scorer, and they looked quite sharp. They really looked up for it, even though they didn't come with all their players. I think the talk was that some of their players weren't able to make the US tour because they were not vaccinated, and as per US government rules, you can't come into the country if you aren't vaccinated. Yeah, so players like Gundogan, I think Phil Foden were not available, but the way they played, they really looked okay. They looked quite sharp. Erling Haaland with the goal against Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, of course, current German champions, also preparing for their preseason. Sadio Mane is there, of course, Leroy Sané and all others, Kingsley Coman as well. So it's very interesting to see how Manchester City have prepared so far. I think Jurgen Klopp was talking about the chances for who was going to win the Premier League in the coming season, and it was tipping Manchester City to be favourites to win it as per the way they prepared their squad and all that. That's not to say that Liverpool haven't prepared their squad, but I think on paper, despite the fact that Manchester City have sold players like Gabriel Jesus, Raheem Sterling, to rivals, they still look quite strong, and really, really sharp. I do not think that their transfer business is done, though. I think before the end of this window, they are going to be buying 1 or 2 players. So it's really it will be cool to see what they actually, are up to and what they intend to do at the end of the window.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I think they'll still sign like a player or two, but let's see. Speaking about Jurgen Klopp and his Liverpool side, Darwin Núñez scored 4 goals in their last preseason game. He looked really good, really, really sharp. A lot of people were already beginning to wonder what was going on because I think in the previous games he was misfiring terribly, shooting blanks. He didn't really seem to understand, what the assignment was. But in the last game, he really delivered 4 goals to the good, and he did quite well given the circumstances, the weather, of course, prickly heat and all that. But football clubs like to train in these kinds of weather because it's really good for keeping up with fitness, keeps you really good, in helping players to prepare, properly for how their season will pan out. Manchester United played a 2-2 draw with Aston Villa. Well, some fans, Manchester United fans, will not be pleased with that result, but I think they can take consolation in the fact that, I don't think they've lost a game. I think they've even won. I think they've even won all the games, except Aston Villa. It was an issue with concentration. I imagine Harry Maguire was in the lineup in the last couple of minutes, which is why maybe they were not paying enough attention to the way Aston Villa was moving with the ball in those final seconds. But it's Manchester United. There are elements, 1 or 2 elements there where people are being suspect that they may not really be up to speed. They may not really be able to beat the press yet. A few anxious, and nervous movements of the ball there, off the ball, particularly against Aston Villa. But we'll see. We'll see how they pan out against, I think, Brighton. I think they opened their season against Brighton on August the 6th. It'll be interesting to see how they play that. Erik Ten Hag has been trying to get players in, I don't know why he's not trying to get players out, because I think players like McTominay, Fred, in the coming season are really going to be exposed under, Ten Hag's tactics. But, well, that's just my opinion anyway, but we'll see. We'll see. I think Anthony Martial has really tried to redeem himself. He's done quite well in preseason, to be honest. He's done quite well. Rashford too. Sancho as well. Cristiano Ronaldo still sitting at home, working out, posting workouts, pictures. I don't know what that is supposed to be.
70 years old man.
I really feel like people only do that when they're trying to get attention from the ladies online, of course. It's always cool to post your abs. But this is like a 37-year-old guy playing for Manchester United, refusing to show up for preseason, ostensibly over a personal family matter. But then again, you find him every couple of days posting workout pictures, on Twitter.
You be mumu. You think say they're wise?
I don't know. I don't know what that is. There's also the little thing of him trying to, sign for other clubs who are in the Champions League and getting turned down. Quite frankly, it's getting embarrassing at this point. Someone should tell Cristiano Ronaldo to just stop.
How could I do such a mistake?
I mean, you are talking of a player who has scored the most goals in competitive football history, who has won the Champions League 5 times, who has the goals record for Real Madrid, who has, I think, the goals record for Manchester United in a single season in the Premier League, who is way and above every footballer, bar Lionel Messi in his generation, and, offering himself to football clubs who don't want him. I mean, it's just embarrassing. A player of his stature should just sit back and play in the Europa League. Playing in the Europa League will not take anything that he has done away. He won't. You've won the Champions League. You've succeeded. You've won the Premier League. I mean, you've won everything there is to win on offer in club football. And in national team football, you've also won something. So it's really, I don't know. I think he should just stay with Manchester United. I think that Manchester United are not a club that are small. It's a big club. It's a respectable club. So if you are playing for them, whether in the Europa League or in the Champions League, as long as you have, your reputation, and you are doing quite well as a person, why not just play for Manchester United? Real Madrid and Barcelona played, a preseason game over the weekend, and El Clasico, of course. Of course, with El Clasicos, there's nothing friendly about it, and El Clasico, whether in preseason or in regular season, El Clasicos are not friendly.
Problems, always.
And Rafinha got the goal in interesting signing. New signings for Real Madrid also played. Rudiger was in there as well. Eden Hazard was lucky to be playing, considering that, Rudiger almost took him out in training last week. Lewandowski was on the bench, came on later, So on that front, I think Barcelona are really going to give Madrid a run for their money this season. De Jong has agreed to take a pay cut, according to reports. Ousmane Dembele renewed with a pay cut as well. They have Dembele, they have Aubameyang already. Lewandowski has joined, so they have a very strong strike force. Even though it's an aging strike force, but I think the quality is still there. Madrid have not really been active in the window.
That's suspicious.
Couple of players signings, free transfers here and there. I'd like to think before the window ends, they'll make one or two more moves. We'll see how that turns out. Overall, you still have to give it to both of them to be the ones to, compete for the league next season. At the moment, Barcelona are looking really strong. Those players that they signed, really strong. And now, there are reports that Jules Koundé is about to join them. Of course, Jules Koundé was set to join Chelsea before Barcelona came in and hijacked the deal. I don't really know how they're doing those things, to be honest. In the midst of, possibly their worst financial state in decades, they are managing to pull off, big, huge signings here and there.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Managing to get players to take pay cuts, managing to explain the project to players and getting them to defer wages. I mean, it's really remarkable. If they manage to get success on the pitch as a result of all the maneuverings they've done with the finances and with the players and the wages and all that, I think it's going to be a fantastic season come June next year. So let's see how that turns out also as well. So the window keeps going on, reports here and there. Arsenal are looking to sign a winger and of course a central midfielder. Remember I told you that they've been looking at Yuri Tillemans for the last couple of months, and the reports are that Arsenal are still looking at him and their personal terms have been agreed. But that doesn't mean anything. Like I said in previous episodes, personal terms don't mean anything. Clubs agreeing don't mean anything. Until both clubs agree and personal terms are agreed, nothing is done. So we'll continue to see plenty dealings, plenty wheeling and dealings before the window closes. And of course, September 1st will be deadline day. A lot of drama, of course, will be expected on that day. And so I'll be giving you all the updates as they unfold, all the stories as they unfold. I'm bringing them to you, of course, with as much banter as I can. Until the very next episode, please stay safe. Have fun out there, guys. God bless. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our page. We need it to help our, page to grow. Thank you very much for staying with me on this episode. Peace.